Abigail here from Evening Star Astrology. I hope you're all doing well today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to another video. Today I have your November predictions with a pick a card reading. In front of me I have 5 piles, each of them with an individual message for you based on which one you pick. As always, these readings are based on where you are in this current moment and the path that you are currently on based on your energy right now, the life that you're currently living, where you're putting your time and energy. You have free will. You are always welcome and able to change your future as you see fit, but this is just where you're headed right now. I'll explain how to pick the cards in just a moment, but after I do, you will head down to the description box below where I will have a timestamp linked to each of the readings, so you can just skip ahead to your personalized reading. At this time, I invite you to take a few deep, grounding breaths, really allowing yourself to get in touch with your intuition, with what's on your mind and what's on your heart. And once you've taken those deep breaths, I invite you to look at the cards in front of you. Here we have pile number 1 with some lapis, pile number 2 with some red jasper, pile number 3 with some amethyst, pile number 4 with some labradorite, and pile number 5 with some carnelian. The cards are kind of weirdly set up. I don't really have a good way to get them all in the frame. But yeah, once again, piles 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And once again, whenever you're ready, you can head down to the description box below where you'll see a timestamp linked to each of the readings, and you can just skip ahead to your personalized reading. I will see you there. All right, pile number 1, if you picked the cards with the lapis on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 1, I apologize, the lighting is not working as well as I thought it would, but I think you can still see the cards. Okay, so we're gonna go with it. Maybe this can be like spooky vibes because it's November. First thing I want to say is that it looks like your month of November is bookended by very positive things. The 6 of Wands indicates new things, good news, new opportunities, and kind of like you've done the work, you're being recognized for it, and now you're taking it to the next level. And then the Page of Cups, as with all of the other pages, represents good news, opportunities, and new beginnings. But as you can probably guess based on the pictures depicted in the 5 of Cups reversed and the 4 of Swords, the middle of the month is a little bit taxing for you. But that's just a brief overview. Let's dive a little bit deeper into it. So, as I mentioned, the 6 of Wands indicates victory and success up until this point, and you're finally being recognized for your achievements. You know, this could be as small as a family member, a romantic partner, or a boss saying, I see you, you are doing awesome work, keep it up. On the other end of the spectrum, this could be you getting a raise in the beginning of the month. This could be you getting a promotion, taking on new responsibilities at work, maybe new leadership opportunities. Wands usually represent things in the career and creative realm. For you, I'm thinking that this is something where you're going to be recognized for something that you feel very proud of. And so it'll feel really rewarding. Like if someone says like, I've looked at your art, I follow your YouTube channel, I read your blog post. Like that is so rewarding because you know that they value your creativity. So at the beginning of the month for you, pile number 1, I see this happening. There is a victory, a success. As I said, this could be you getting a promotion or a raise or some other step up in the workplace. But you know, this could also just simply mean that you are finishing a project and people are congratulating you for it. Like you've been working on this project for months and it's finally there. So yeah, so the beginning of the month, I feel like you're gonna be celebrated. You're gonna be the center of attention in a very positive way because of good things that you have done. And then we move to the 5 of Cups reversed, which, as you can tell, is a bit of a challenging card. Usually when this card is reversed, it means that you've hit a low and you're working on climbing back out of it. Because if you see with the upright version, or just for a clearer image of it, this person has 3 cups that are knocked over and 2 that are still standing up. And they're so focused on these 3, they're looking at those ones, that they don't even notice that they have some resources still available to them. And of course, the cups represent emotions and relationships and kind of our intuitive or spiritual side. So I feel like you may be getting recognized in the public sphere, like you are getting recognized by your boss, your work life is going great, but your personal life is not feeling quite as fulfilling as you would have liked. Maybe you get a raise and that feels really great for a little bit, and then you kind of still feel emotionally low or empty. Or you've been like very busy in the public sphere and now it's kind of quieting down, because as with everything else in nature, as with everything else in human life, there are ebbs and flows. There are periods of activity and periods of rest. But I feel like in the middle of the month, you're going to have a bit of a lower point. And this doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means lower activity, like there's not as much going on in your life. And in those moments of quiet, I feel like you might recognize where you haven't been taking care of your emotional health, where you feel loneliness, old grief or trauma that you haven't worked through. Because when you're in the Six of Wands type of energy and things are going well, you tend to get distracted. Like there are so many wonderful things going on that you don't have time to focus on your personal life, don't have time to focus on your inner landscape. And so it feels awesome, like you're busy, you're motivated, you feel like you have a sense of purpose, but then when that goes away, what's left? And I feel like that's what you're going to be confronting with this Five of Cups here. Next to the Four of Swords, this is a really interesting duo because the Four of Swords, as you might be able to guess, is about rest. It's about taking a step back, resting, meditating, and taking the time that you need to bring yourself back up to a place where you can give to others, where you can perform in the public sphere, where you can show up for others, and ultimately show up for yourself. So I feel like in the middle of the month, like I said, you're going to be confronted with some emotional or internal situations that you have been ignoring. And then the Four of Swords will maybe not demand, but invite you to rest and take a break and slow down a bit. Like I said, I feel like the Six of Wands, your beginning of the month for November, is very active and very busy in a very external way. And then in the middle of the month, your attention will be drawn more inwards. You'll be looking at your emotional landscape, your internal landscape, what you truly want and desire when there aren't any eyes on you, when it's just you alone. What do you really want? Who are you really? Some good questions to think about. I don't feel like you are being forced to rest, but I feel like you may come to the realization that you do need more time to rest, or because of everything that's going on with this Five of Cups reversed and the emotional heaviness, and not necessarily heavy in a bad way, just there's more of a focus on that, so it takes up more of your time. I feel like you will need more time to rest because of that. This rest also, of course, could be carried over from the Six of Wands, part of the month where you're very focused and very driven and ambitious and you're doing a lot of work and staying late and taking on extra assignments. And then the Four of Swords is like, okay, we've done that, but we need to catch up on our sleep now. This can be very literal in the sense of sleeping, but this rest can also be taking a step back. For example, are there projects at work that you have taken on recently that you maybe could delegate to others? Are there like friendships in your life or other relationships that you have that are taking a lot of your attention right now and that you maybe need to take a step back from? And if those people are truly like good friends or partners or family members, they will understand and respect your need to take some time for yourself. Really what I'm getting at with this Four of Swords is that this month I feel like you're going to take some time for yourself in a very positive way, but this is going to be a lot of like sitting and meditating and journaling and just kind of being with yourself. So that's what I see for the middle of the month. The good news is that we have the Page of Cups at the end of the month, and I feel like this card within this reading is signifying emotional clarity and kind of a fresh start. Been validated by the public, you've felt kind of low with yourself, you've taken some time to figure out why do I feel so low and empty even though I'm doing so well in the public sphere. And then the Page of Cups is kind of representing this stepping into who you are and stepping into a life that aligns with who like you truly are. I feel like I just repeated myself. But basically what I'm getting at here is that with this Page of Cups, you're stepping into who you truly are in a way that is aligned and feels good for you. And maybe that means that you take a bit of a step back from work. Maybe this means that you lessen your responsibilities, lessen the load a bit. But when you do that, you'll be able to step into this creative person who has energy, who is loving and has affection and compassion to give to others because you've taken this time for yourself. I said this earlier, but like life has its ups and downs, and I feel like the beginning of this month is a high point for you. You're going to go into a bit of a period of retreat and thinking and taking time for yourself, where you might not be putting out as much into the world. You know, maybe you need to take a step back from work, from your creative projects, etc. And then at the end of the month, because of that rest, you can emerge anew. So pile number 1, that's what I see for you this November. I'm really excited for you, and I'm really excited to see what this kind of introspective period allows you to bring into your life. And yeah, I also have a couple of oracle cards to go with this reading. These are from my Sufi Wisdom deck. I'm just going to take a moment because these cards are so beautiful. So the cards from the Sufi Wisdom deck are Union of Love, Embrace the Beloved within your heart, and Speak Out, Communicate and Solve the Conflicts. So first of these 2 cards, I want to talk about the Speak Out, Communicate and Solve the Conflicts. I think that this card is so important because I think a lot of us are conditioned to believe that other people don't care about what's going on in our life, other people don't want to hear what we're feeling, don't want to hear about our experiences. And I feel like a lot of time our conversations tend to be around what's going on in your life, like what externally is happening, how are your friends and family, and how's your job. And I feel like in quarantine, a lot of us are being forced to change how we communicate with other people, because a lot of times, like, I'll get on a FaceTime with one of my friends and it's like, so what are you up to? And it's like, nothing. I'm not doing anything right now. But the thing is that we all have an internal landscape that is so rich and so important and so worthy of sharing. I said this earlier in the reading that, like, with this 4 of Swords, you may need to take a step back from the people in your life. You may need to tell people, you know, I said that I would come to that Zoom hangout this weekend, but I really just need a night to go to bed early or read or meditate or just take some time for myself. And when you speak out and when you tell people what's going on in your life, that brings you closer. People in your life care about you. They care about what you have to say, what's going on in your life, and they want to help you. And I feel like maybe this 5 of Cups, this like sadness and loss that you're feeling with this card, is potentially being misunderstood by the people in your life, of not feeling like the people around you know what's really going on in your head or know who you truly are. And I think along this journey of like introspection that you're dealing with this month, to get to the Page of Cups, to have this kind of like reawakening of, this is who I am, these are my creative gifts, this is what I have to share with the world, you have to communicate with others. And then we have the Union of Love that says, embrace the beloved within your heart. And when I first read this card, I was thinking about, you know, in relation to the speak out and communicate with others. But then I realized I preach about self-love and like the relationship that you have with yourself on this channel. And I can't believe I forgot to mention that. But this card to me, for you, pile number 1, as you move through the month of November, I feel like one of your lessons is going to be learning self-love. And I know that that term can be overused. It can kind of be twisted to mean different things, like, you know, to mean a fake confidence or a love of self that's conditional or not inclusive, or I love myself when my body looks like this, or I love myself when I'm at my best. And that's not true self-love. That's not unconditional self-love. That's not where we want to be with ourselves. And so, my dears, I feel like this Union of Love card is really saying that your work this month is learning to love yourself, knowing that you don't need to do anything or think anything or be anything except exactly who you are in this moment, because you are perfect and worthy of love in this moment. And I can say that to you a million times. I say that to myself all the time, and it's still hard for me to believe. So this is not something that happens overnight. This is a practice. And so I feel like your practice for this month is learning to love yourself, learning to radically accept yourself without wishing yourself any different, and creating that love. And I didn't mention this earlier, but the Page of Cups often signifies love as well, like new love coming into your life. And I feel like for you, this could be self-love. Earlier, I was saying that with the Page of Cups, you'll emerge at the end of the month and you will be this new creative whole person. What I also see is that you will be a creative person who loves themselves. When you truly love yourself, that radiates out so far into the world, and it makes you a more enjoyable person to be around, and it like draws people to you. And so I feel like having that self-love and that confidence of just knowing that you are perfect and amazing and wonderful and worthy just as you are. Learning that and going through that work this month will lead you to being this whole embodied version of yourself. To finish off this reading, I want to read the 2 mantras that are associated with these cards from the little book that comes from the deck. And these mantras, if you want to write them down, I mean, if you choose to ignore them, that's totally fine too, but like you can use these kind of as a reminder of something to come back to this month when you're in your 5 of Cups and 4 of Swords period, when you're feeling low. These mantras might be something that could help you out. So for the union of love, the mantra is, I am allowing the power of love to build in my heart to draw and attract others to me. I am creating ways to express the wonder of being, of joy and love. And then the mantra for speak out is, I am committing myself to be brave enough to speak out my thoughts and feelings honestly with others. So pile number 1, I hope you have a wonderful month ahead. I hope you enjoy, or not enjoy, but gain a lot of insight and wisdom from this kind of introspective period at the end of the month. Remember that your friends want to hear what's going on in your life. They care about you, and building that communication helps foster stronger relationships. And then also remember to love yourself and love those around you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. If you pick the cards with the red jasper on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 2. So we start off your month with the Fool, and anyone who knows anything about tarot knows the kind of stereotypical interpretation of this, that you are embarking on something new. And this isn't necessarily a physical journey, which, I mean, you shouldn't be traveling right now anyway, but this could be a mental journey, an emotional journey, a spiritual journey, or simply just a new chapter of your life that encapsulates all of these themes. Because often I feel like when you're going on a spiritual journey, it's also emotional and changes how you view the world. And the Fool, I love the imagery of the Fool because the Fool has nothing. They don't know anything. They have a beginner's mind. They are open to everything around them. And I feel like maybe in October you have hit a low of some point, whether that's in your personal life, in your relationships, in your career, and you've kind of decided enough is enough, I'm starting fresh. When I pull this card at the beginning of a monthly reading, I always think the new month, new me mentality. So I feel like that is where you're going into November from. Group number 2, I'm not necessarily saying that you hit a rock bottom in October, but maybe you wrap something up. Maybe a work project completed, maybe you quit a job, maybe you ended a relationship, or kind of worked through one issue in a relationship, and this month it's time to start fresh. It's time to take that knowledge, hold on to what's helpful, let go of anything that you don't need to hold on to anymore, and begin anew. Your next card for this month, pile number 2, is the Hierophant. And I feel like these 2 cards are really interesting right next to each other because the Fool is all about discovery, but it's kind of like learning through doing, just being present and seeing what you learn from that. But the Hierophant is about learning in a very conventional way. The Hierophant can also represent schools and institutions. So I feel like this month you're learning a lot, and it may even inspire you to do some more serious work into it. And I'm not saying that learning outside of the classroom or outside of an institution isn't serious. I'm simply saying that maybe, for example, you discover astrology this month and you look at your birth chart and you're like, hey, that's pretty cool. And the Hierophant, the next stage of that is enrolling in an astrology course or doing some research or learning about it. Obviously, that's a very niche and specific example, but this could be anything, kind of learning a little bit about something, kind of dipping your toes in, and then going a little bit deeper, seeking out opportunities to learn more and do more. The Hierophant can also indicate community, because a lot of times we gain community from the institutions that we're involved with. A lot of people are friends with their coworkers or their classmates, or people at their yoga studio or whatever. And so I feel like this month you may also be building relationships with people in your community, or people with similar interests at least. And I feel like going into the month with this Fool mindset will allow you to make those relationships, because you're not holding on to preconceived notions about other people, and you're not already imposing your judgments on them when you meet them. You're going into this with a new mind, oh, I've never taken a yoga class before, let me find a yoga studio or take a virtual class. And then you might become friends with those people. You might become friends with the teacher. You might like strike up a conversation with someone after class. What I'm getting at here is the beginning of the month, or like the first half of the month, has a lot of learning and new experiences. And then not just like learning about it and kind of being curious, but like learning about it and diving deeper into it and taking the next step. And then we move on to the King of Cups. And the reason that I was kind of talking about community with the Hierophant is because the second half of your month has 2 cups. The cup cards are about relationships, emotions, intuition, kind of connecting with people on an emotional level or like a deeper level. And to me, the King of Cups is the epitome of like emotional intelligence and using your emotions in a positive way. For example, using your emotions to fuel your creativity or to connect with the people in your life on a deeper level instead of just kind of like a surface level, whatever. You actually really get to know them. The King of Cups does have a lot of charisma, and he's very sensitive and like lets his emotions guide his choices. And of course I'm using he, him pronouns here because this is the king and that's the traditional representation. This could be you, this could be a male figure in your life, this could be a female or non-binary figure in your life. So I advise you not to get too hung up on the pronouns. Yeah, I feel like I say that every video, but I just want to make it clear. When I'm talking about a person in a card, I'm talking about the archetype, I'm not talking about that gender specifically. Anyway, getting back to the reading, I feel like your emotional intelligence this month is advancing in some way, and this might be through your studies, like whatever you're working on with these 2 cards. For example, let's say you take up an interest in philosophy or history. You know, you read a Wikipedia article that is really interesting and you want to learn more about it. So you enroll in a course or you buy a book on the topic. And through learning about that, you gain new emotional insight, new emotional intelligence, and you're better able to relate to the world on an emotional level. But basically, I feel like through your studies this month, you're going to become more emotionally intelligent, learn more about humanity, about the human condition, if you will, and that's going to help guide your choices in relationships and as you navigate the world. And of course, the king kind of represents like the fullest expression of something, and using these skills in a very positive and productive way. And so I feel like whatever you're learning this month, you're going to integrate it into your life, and it's going to make you a better person, make you more enjoyable to be around, and like, you know, enhance your own fulfillment in life. Finally, our last card is the 2 of Cups. And this is really interesting after the King of Cups because I feel like this month you're kind of like growing and learning. And if you look at these cards, I know I was talking about community, but for the most part, these cards, it's one person teaching. So this is like you learning or you learning from a teacher. And then the king is alone. But then in this card, we have 2 people. And so I feel like in some way this month, you have been working on your own, doing internal work, connecting with your community and building that. But really, these are changes that you're making to your individual life, to your perspective on the world, to how you navigate as you go about your day-to-day actions. But then at the end of the month, we have the 2 of Cups. This card can always signify new relationships or a deepening of a relationship, like, you know, going from being in a relationship to engaged or engaged to married. But this card could also just be connecting with someone on a deeper level. You know, I mentioned that with the Hierophant, you may be finding your community this month. Maybe you get very close to one person in it. Maybe you find like the love of your life in your yoga class or whatever. Or this could just generally mean that you get along with people better. Because like I said, you're learning, you're becoming more emotionally intelligent, and that will draw people to you. So I feel like this work you're doing, even though it's mostly stuff you're doing on your own time that you may think is just only changing your life and your outlook, is actually making you a better person to be around. But I feel like this month, like, you're doing a lot of work, and even though it seems like things that you're doing on your own or with a community of like-minded people, like, you know, even if you're taking like a virtual class, there's a community there. But I feel like this is stuff you're doing on your own time because you want to do it and you want to make that change. But it makes you a better person. It makes you more enjoyable to be around. It makes you a better person for the world. And so I feel like that's your growth this month. And since these cards are all upright, I feel like this journey of getting that spark of curiosity or creativity, learning, becoming more emotionally intuitive and intelligent, and then forming better relationships with the people in your life or forming new relationships with people who may come into your life, I feel like it will go relatively smoothly. And of course, this is like relative to 2020. November is election month. We're still in a pandemic. we're still dealing with everything else that's going on in 2020. But relatively speaking, I feel like this will go pretty smoothly. And more than just going smoothly in an external way, I feel like this is like going smoothly in a way that it feels very aligned to who you truly are. Like, as you start on this journey, you will feel so good, you will feel so confident and capable, and you'll kind of be asking yourself, why didn't I start this earlier? This is exactly where I want to be. I feel so good. I feel so secure in myself. I feel like confident. I'm creative. I'm expressive. I'm emotionally fulfilled, spiritually, mentally fulfilled. And so I feel like the journey that you're going on this month is exactly where you need to be. So anything that makes you curious at the beginning of the month, go for it. If you read a tweet or a blog post and you're like, that's really interesting, I never thought about blank before, but it sparks your curiosity, look into it. Read the Wikipedia page on it. See if there are any like classes in your area that you can take. So yeah, that's all for the tarot reading. I also have a couple of oracle cards for some advice. I also just wanted to show off these cards because they are so beautiful. Oh my god, okay, I literally couldn't have picked these cards better if I had like intentionally selected them from the deck. So first we have Open Mind. Replace the old cycle with a new and exciting one. That card is literally the Fool. Also, this artwork is like so beautiful. The Open Mind card is literally the Fool. And I feel like this card is here to kind of emphasize the message that you may find something new, something might spark your curiosity, but you might have a little bit of judgment about it. Like, you know, maybe you've never thought of it before and you're just unsure. But maybe it's more of like a, oh, only weird people study astrology, or I could never do that because my parents wouldn't have wanted me to do that. Or I'm too old, I can't start that now. But this card is here to say, just keep an open mind. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you won't know unless you try. And I feel like that's kind of the message of this month, is try new things, because you never know when trying something new and kind of taking that leap of faith will take you down this wonderful journey that fulfills you on an emotional, physical, spiritual, etc. level. And then also we have Finding the Path. You are the driver and the navigator. I think this card is so important because sometimes it can feel like life is out of your control, especially in 2020, especially during a pandemic. It can really feel like you don't have any control and the world is just gonna go the way it goes. Ultimately though, you are the driver and the navigator. You can make choices in your own life. You can choose where you spend your time, where you spend your energy, what kind of content you consume, what people you choose to have relationships with. With making those choices, you have the power and the ability to navigate your life down this path of growth and productivity and personal development. It's just about having an open mind. It's just about like putting in the work and learning. But if you do that, there is so much to be gained. And once you find your path, you will know it's right and it will be so good for you. And one more thing for you, pile number 2. I feel like I'm sitting here and saying like November is going to be so great for you. It's going to be so positive, like all love and light and growth and nothing bad. And I just want to say that having an open mind and finding a new path is not necessarily easy. It can be really uncomfortable. There are going to be setbacks. I'm talking about this journey as if it's like super smooth sailing, no issues, like, you know, you're just cruising. And the thing is that you're not. You're going to have to put in work. You're going to have to take the time and money and energy to go on this journey. I guess what I'm getting at is it's important to understand that it will be uncomfortable at times. It might be painful. It might require some sacrifices, and it will lead you to where you're meant to be. Nothing in life is 100% good or 100% bad. Nothing is 100% easy or 100% challenging. And so understand that, like, if this is the right path for you, the goods will significantly outweigh the challenges, and at the same time, there will still be some challenges. I guess just keep that in mind this month, that as much as I'm sitting here and preaching that it's going to be a wonderful month for you, this doesn't mean that there will be no negative parts of the month. It just means that as you're working along this path, you will feel very aligned with your higher self, if you like to use that terminology, or you will just feel like you're in the right spot and where you're meant to be. And I think that will outweigh some of the more uncomfortable aspects, but those uncomfortable aspects will still be there because that's just part of being human, part of living. So pile number 2, to wrap up this reading, I want to read the mantras that come in the book that comes with this oracle deck. A little bit of Sufi wisdom for you, and you can use these mantras kind of as a reminder throughout the month, like if you're ever feeling lost, if you're ever kind of like going over a speed bump or a larger hurdle. And you can use these mantras, I mean, you can ignore them completely if you want to, that's fine. You can write these down, you can like come back to this video, you can think of them when you're kind of going over a hurdle somewhere along this path. But I think that these mantras are really perfect, so I wanted to share them to close out the reading. So the mantra for open mind is, I discern the truth in what I believe. I am open to considering new ideas and thoughts as I seek the highest solution for everyone involved. And then the mantra for finding the path is, I am honoring and affirming my life by making a serious commitment to be the best person I can be. I will trust my heart to guide me in making my decisions. So pile number 2, I am so excited for your month. I'm excited for you to find your path, find where you're meant to be, and remember that there are going to be hang-ups and hurdles no matter what path you take. But this one is truly the right one for you, and you will know it when you find it. Yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to this reading and for being here today, and I will see you next time. Bye! Hello, pile number 3. If you picked the cards with the amethyst on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 3. So this month we start out with the Tower card being reversed, but whenever we have the Tower, that indicates that things are crumbling, things are falling apart, and that certain chapter or area of your life is experiencing a transition. You know, things have to fall apart so new things can come in. Whenever this card appears at the beginning of a month, like in my monthly readings, it often indicates that this month is going to bring transformation in some way. And since this card is reversed, I feel like you are not allowing this transformation to happen. And the thing is that the Tower is a challenging card. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The Tower is not a card that signifies good things. And just like life and human life experiences, tarot represents, you know, the good and the bad. It's not just the love and light. It's not just the darkness and evil. It's everything. Tarot reflects the human experience, which is multifaceted and contains wonderful things and then also destructive things. Anyway, all of that to say that at the beginning of this month, there's going to be something that's falling apart. I feel like you're going to be seeing the signs of it for a while. Like, it could be a relationship that's slowly crumbling, but you don't really want to let go of yet, so you're pretending that everything's fine even though it isn't. Or this could be a job where, you know, you're kind of getting messages or hints or whatever that you should move on. It could also just be in your personal life. Maybe you've been trying out a new fitness habit or a new sense of fashion and it's just not working for you. Sorry, that sounded so mean. Basically what I'm getting at with this Tower card is there's something in your life that is ready to fall apart, ready to, you know, kind of dissipate and end, and you are not letting it. So at the beginning of this month, I kind of invite you to look at your life, figure out what's working and what's not working, and take a little bit of time, do that reflection, and then whatever is not working, just let that go. And one quick thing I do want to say, I talked about this a bit with the last reading, life is not always good or always bad, and even when you're on the right path, there can be slip-ups, there can be hurdles that you have to get over. And so I don't want you to take this message of the Tower and just let everything in your life crumble and give up on everything and like move to the woods to be a hermit. Rather, what I'm saying is think critically and kind of look at the pattern of things. And the Tower, like I said, is not referring to you had a bad day at work, so you should quit your job. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you consistently feel stressed after work, you feel drained, you always feel like you're on edge when you're at work, you don't feel fulfilled by the creative projects, your coworker relationships aren't good, you don't like the way your boss treats you, etc. If it's a pattern of things, then that's when the Tower is saying, let it go. I hope that makes sense. But basically at the beginning of your month, you're going to be letting go of something, and the sooner you can step away and let it crumble, and the less painful it will be. And then next we have the Queen of Wands reversed. I mean, we actually have all wands for the rest, which is quite interesting. But the Queen of Wands usually represents like creative energy, you know, power, like success. The Queen of Wands is a powerful person. But within this reading, next to the Tower reversed, I feel like this is a lack of confidence because this is falling apart. I think that there is a lot of shame surrounding failure in our society, and failure can be defined so many ways. Like, I feel like if people get divorced, there's an element of shame of it didn't work out, so I'm a bad person or I'm not a good partner. If you quit a job or you're fired, or you try like to start a business and it doesn't work out, I feel like there is so much unnecessary shame surrounding that in our society. Failure means that you tried something. It means that you tried something new, you put yourself out there, you maybe went down a different path that hasn't been gone down before. That is awesome. That is worth celebrating. And failure means you learned what didn't work, and next time you can try something different. I'm going on this tangent to say that I feel like the Queen of Wands reversed is indicating an insecurity, a sense of shame, and, you know, not feeling confident or secure in yourself because of whatever this Tower situation is. Whatever has fallen away, you don't feel good about yourself, because if that doesn't work out, then why would anything in my life work out? Like, you know, it's easy to get into that thought pattern of like, my relationship failed, and so like, I must not be good at anything, which isn't true. So I feel like your work, your message for the first half of the month, pile number 3, is to let whatever is holding you back go. And even if you've invested a lot of time into it, even if you've invested energy or money, if it's not working, let it go. And then also coming to terms with, or even just recognizing that you feel insecure because of this crumbling, this job or this relationship falling away. And it's okay to have those feelings of insecurity. It's okay to have those feelings of shame. Those are totally valid. And understanding that it's not permanent. You are not always going to feel like this. It's normal to feel this way, and you can move past it. You can learn from it, and you can grow from it. Yeah, I think I've said everything I want to say about this already. The first half of the month is going to be a little bit painful, and it's going to kind of ask you to look within and figure out where you get your confidence from and what feels good for you. Luckily, the good news of this pile, group number 3, is that after you go through this period of like getting your confidence knocked down and losing whatever relationship or job this was, at the end of the month or like the second half of the month, things are going to kind of pick up for you. So next we have the 8 of Wands, and the 8 of Wands is really good. It's like a really positive card because it's about news and travel and growing. It's like an influx of productivity. And this card, I feel like more so than any of the other wands, is fast. Like, this person is on a motorcycle, they're zooming. Like, some of the other cards in this deck, especially in the suit of wands, will have like horses or whatever, but no, this bitch is on a motorcycle. Like, she's zooming fast. And to go back to what I was saying with these cards about failure and all of that, I feel like for the first half of the month, you might kind of like wallow in your pain a bit and like, my business didn't work out, or that relationship didn't work out, and like, I failed, I didn't get what I wanted, I didn't succeed. And then in the second half of the month, because you already have that experience, failure means that you have experience. And so I feel like based on that experience, you're going to be able to go so much faster the next time around. Let's say that you were trying to start a business and it didn't work out. You put a lot of time into it, you put a lot of money and energy, and it just didn't get off the ground. You didn't get any clients, you got a couple of bad reviews, etc. And then this 8 of Wands is coming in, and it's a new opportunity. Maybe someone's reaching out and saying like, hey, I actually would love to work with you on this project. Or, hey, I know that you started a website. Can you help me start mine, or whatever? And because of your failure, because of your previous experience, you will know exactly what to do, and it'll go so much faster. Creating your second website will take half the time it took to create your first website. You will know what went wrong the first time, so you can learn from it. And not to like oversimplify the 8 of Wands, but really I feel like your first half of the month is not great. It's kind of a lot of reflection and figuring out where you went wrong previously and working through the feelings you associate with failure or not succeeding. And then with the 8 of Wands, it's like, okay, now that I've learned that, I'm gonna get back out on the road and I'm gonna try again. And so for you, pile number 3, I feel like halfway through the month of November, you're gonna kind of snap out of your little like self-pity party, which sounds mean, and I don't mean it that way, because like the Tower, like I've said, is not an easy card. If you're going through it, you're going through it. throw yourself all the pity parties you want. But with the Eight of Wands, I feel like you're going to kind of realize like, okay, this isn't getting me anywhere. How can I get back out on the road? How can I keep saying it on the road because like this person's driving on the road, but how can I get back to where I want to be? And again, since you have that experience, you have this power. And like I said, the Queen of Wands, she is confident and she is powerful. Her confidence has just been knocked a bit, and that's why she's reversed. And I feel like for you this month, it's going to be getting the Queen of Wands back upright and using that confidence and self-assurance to make things happen. And then we move to the Page of Wands, and as with all the other pages, they signify new opportunities, like new job offers, new communications, and just generally like new situations in your life, which is such a positive and reassuring message to receive in a reading where we have the Tower first. At the beginning of the month, you're going to feel like everything is crumbling around you and nothing is going right, and it's going to hurt your self-confidence and your self-image. But towards the end of the month, you're going to get your steam back, you're going to be able to keep going, and at the end of the month, you will be rewarded or recognized with new opportunities. People may be seeing how hard you work, like all of your qualifications, and then they'll offer you a new job or a new relationship. Like maybe a relationship failed at the beginning of the month, you felt really low because of it, but you got back out there and you started communicating and started talking to new people, and then we get a new relationship at the end of the month. But yeah, ultimately the Page of Wands indicates that like good things are coming for you at the end of the month. New situations, new opportunities that appeal to your wishes, your desires, and also utilize your strengths because you are so strong. Like anytime the Queen of Wands comes up in a reading, I'm like, you are a bad bitch, you are so strong, you are so confident, you've got this. And you have all the skills you need to get to this point. It's just about putting in a little bit of hard work. I feel like this card could even be like applying for new jobs, sending out your resume, making those calls, etc. And then because you're putting in the work to make yourself known, you will be recognized for that. So that's it for the tarot reading for this month. I also have a couple of oracle cards. These are from my Sufi Wisdom deck. Okay, so the Gift of Freedom is so interesting because it says, break away from your attachments. And I feel like your attachments are the Tower. And the Tower is usually external circumstances. It's like a job or relationship, a living situation. But the Tower like can represent really anything that needs to fall away. This could be your outlook on life. This could be kind of your perspective on the world, the way you approach relationships, the way you view yourself, your self-confidence. It could also just be attachment to, I need to be a certain way. I have always been told that I'm smart, and so I need to prove that I am smart in every single situation. And like attaching yourself to certain identities or whatever. And this Gift of Freedom card is so important because it's reinforcing the message of the Tower. Break away from your attachments. Whatever is not allowing you to be the best version of yourself, whatever is really holding you back in any way, allow it to like crumble. And it may be messy along the way. This isn't necessarily like the most pleasant or harmonious process, but it's so important and it has to be done. This freedom, like you can see this person, they are just like glowing. Like I love to look at the colors when I look at tarot. And then this card, the Gift of Freedom, is yellows and reds. It's about creativity and passion and expression. And all those things will come when you break away from your attachments. And there's a reason this card says Gift of Freedom, because freedom is so powerful. It's wonderful. You want to be able to feel free. And I feel like I've been talking about like this Tower situation as if it's an external situation or circumstance, but it can be very internal too. It can be so liberating once you realize, I don't have to act this way anymore. I don't have to pretend to be nice to people I don't like. I don't have to put up with this harassment anymore. And I feel like once you free yourself, there's so much empowerment there. And I feel like you're going to feel more empowered and more confident as the month goes on, and more free, which is like the ultimate goal, once you break away from these attachments. And then the other card for this month is Willpower. And it says, improve your willpower to reduce your stress level. And I'm just going to show you the artwork because this deck is so beautiful. I'm so obsessed with it. But I feel like this message is so important because when your confidence is low, when you're going through periods of loss, destruction, things falling apart around you, those are high stress periods. And when you're stressed, your energy is sucked into that. Your energy is taken away from things that you actually want to do, activities and people where you actually do want to send your energy. You don't have enough because you're stressed out. And so I feel like with the willpower this month, sometimes it's simply just believing that you can do it. I think that like you should work towards something, and there's joy in the work and growth, and understanding that it will take steps to get there. And at the same time, this willpower card is really saying you need to pick and choose where you put your energy. And when you're putting it towards pursuits like the Eight of Wands, like applying for new jobs, putting yourself back out there on the dating scene, allowing yourself to learn and communicate and grow, this will lead you to the place where you want to be. Like this is where you want to be at this month. You don't want to be over here, but it takes willpower to get here. Most of the times it's not necessarily enjoyable or, at the top of everyone's like, I want to do this list to send out job applications or update your resume or re-download Tinder or whatever. But once you put the willpower in, you will start associating your work with good rewards, and you will be rewarded at the end of the month if you put in this work. Yeah, this willpower card is really just here to remind you, you can do it. You just need to believe you can, and you actually need to put in the time and effort to make it happen. Things aren't just gonna fall into place. This freedom may allow you more energy to believe that you can. Your willpower comes from your freedom and ability to choose where to put your energy, but freedom alone isn't enough. Opportunity alone isn't enough. It's about making it happen and putting in the work with the willpower. And to finish off this reading today, I wanted to read the mantras from the book that comes with this oracle deck. You can completely ignore these, but if you do choose to listen to these and take them in, you could write these down and learn from them. You could write these down and stick them in your bathroom mirror so that you see them each day. You could just come back to this video and listen to them again, or you can just kind of sit here for a moment and allow them to sink in. Anyway, all I have to say, so the mantra for the card of willpower is, I manage my stress levels and direct my willpower to follow love. And then the mantra for gift of freedom is, I am letting love guide my actions, knowing that embracing responsibility is what will give me peace and a personal sense of freedom to live the life which is right for me. I know I said that was going to be the end of the reading, but I really quickly wanted to touch on the fact that both of those mantras included the word love. And I feel like the beginning of this month, stress is taking over to a level where you are not feeling love or not expressing it. And I just want to remind you that love is so important. Self-love is important, and showing love to the people in your life is very important. And I think that will help you as you kind of get back up on your feet, get the work done, and then reach your new opportunities. Love will help you get there. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to this reading, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, pile number 4. If you pick the cards with a labradorite on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 4. So starting off this month, we have the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups kind of represents emotional intelligence, maturity, empathy, etc. And the Queen of Cups puts a lot of emphasis on relationships and emotional well-being in her life. And so for you, pile number 1, at the beginning of November, relationships are going to be really important to you, like friendships, romantic relationships, familial relationships, etc. Those will be a priority in your life, and you'll be investing a lot of your time and energy into the relationships, which is really positive. Yeah, I feel like relationships are kind of a big theme at the beginning of this month. You may spend more time talking to other people. You may be opening up to people on an emotional level in a way that you maybe haven't before. But yeah, the beginning of this month, I'm really just seeing that relationships are going to be very important to you, and you might be relying on relationships more than you normally would. And then next we move to the World, which is reversed. And I have 2 thoughts on this. The World card is really about conclusions, wrapping things up, kind of like that final push so that you can reach the gates of heaven or whatever. But when it's reversed, there are 2 things I think. One is that either this month you will be trying to wrap something up before it's time, not care if you've reached the end of this journey. You will just I just want to get this done. I just need to get this done now. I don't even care how it turns out. Kind of like that energy of you know, like when a paper is due at midnight and it's 11 o'clock and you're just starting it then, and you turn it in and it's complete garbage, but at least it's done. I feel like you might have that energy this month, or you may be so focused on where you're going, like the destination, if you will, that you're not thinking about the journey and you're not focusing on the journey. And this is like a really cliche statement, I know, but it's really about the journey, not the destination. And I feel like this month, pile number 4, you are so focused on where you want to be that you're not actually taking the steps to get there, and you're not doing the work to get you to that point. You're simply just like dreaming about the future instead of working with what you have in the present moment. And, you know, I'm speaking about this because I've personally been working through this recently of understanding that I don't necessarily need to know where I'm going, but I know the general journey I want to go on, and so I'm focusing on taking those steps now, and I'll see where it takes me when I get there. I think in 2020 especially, this is an important lesson because we're projecting into the future and like, you know, once Corona's over, I will do this, or I will start this job once Corona's over, or I will move to this new place. But the thing is that that's in the future, and that's the final destination, but there are things you can be doing now. So what can you do in this moment that will help you get there? Okay, sorry, I had to take care of my cat real fast. I forgot where I was. But basically at the beginning of this month, I feel like you will need to tap into your intuition a little bit more to figure out where you want to go, understanding that you will not necessarily reach destination immediately. Because I feel like as a society, we are so impatient, and as soon as we get an idea of like, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, there's this like need to have it right now. Like that instant gratification. And so I feel like this month, as you focus on relationships, focus on your emotional well-being, you will understand that sometimes there's going to be delayed gratification. Perhaps you want to create a lifestyle that fosters your best mental health. Understand it's not going to happen overnight, and it will require work to get there. Basically, with the world reversed, I feel like you are rushing to the finish line instead of actually doing the work or whatever to get you there, if that makes sense. All right, and then our next card is the Devil. I apologize, there's a motorcycle like revving outside my apartment right now. But the Devil is quite interesting because it usually represents temptation, a darker side of ourselves, you know, kind of like our true nature, if you will, like the truly evil desires we have under the surface. And the Devil is interesting with these two cards because these two cards at the beginning of your month like have a lot of blue. They seem very like serene and peaceful and kind of light, like not light as in like a light fixture, but light as in not heavy. Things are not heavy for you at this moment, basically. And then the Devil is kind of here to remind you of like the other side. And in this reading, I really feel like the Devil is representing things that you need to walk away from. And the Nine of Swords is saying like, if you don't walk away from them or you prolong them, you may end up like awake in the middle of the night wondering like, how do I get rid of this? Why did I make that choice? Was it the right choice? And so I feel like the temptation of the Devil, something's gonna appear to you towards the end of November, like middle end, maybe around the 20th or so, where you're kind of forced to like, I don't know, revisit an old behavior or an old relationship. Like you're kind of on this journey of like growing your confidence and your emotions, understanding what your journey is and where you are on it. And then your ex is gonna pop back into your life and be like, hey, how's it going? Or an old coping mechanism. And you will have to like make that choice of like, do I want to let this person back into my life? Or do I know that this is just a temptation, and if I can move past this, I will be able to get to where I want to be. I will get one step closer towards reaching my destination. I feel like this is representing a test of some sort. Like another message I'm getting with this is like, if you are working on becoming sober, giving up alcohol or a certain drug, the Devil card is going to kind of represent that temptation of like, are you sure you want to give it up? Like, remember all these good times you had with it, or maybe a person who encouraged that behavior will come back into your life, and you will kind of be forced to like test yourself in a way of, is this something I want to do or is it not? And with the Devil, the message of this card is you just need to leave. The Devil doesn't really offer like a halfway kind of deal of like, you can do this behavior sometimes, but still like work on your path. The Devil is really like an all or nothing. And I feel like with this card, whatever situation this is representing, like an old relationship, an old habit, an old job, old thought patterns, etc., that are appealing, but ultimately not productive, you just have to walk away from them completely. It's painful. It's not easy. There will be nights of anxiety afterwards, but you just have to do it. Which leads me to the Nine of Swords. this reading is quite interesting actually, because I feel like you start out with like such a positive, like the Queen of Cups is working for you or with you, and your emotional intelligence and relationships are doing well. And then the world is kind of doubting your journey, doubting the path you're on. You're thrown a test, and then whichever way you go with it, because of course this is a general reading and some messages may resonate with you and other ones are meant for other people. But if this temptation comes back into your life, I feel like there will be anxiety about it whichever way you choose. For example, let's say an ex comes back into your life and you indulge in it for a little bit. You start talking to them again, you start kind of dating them again, hooking up, whatever. I feel like you'll have anxiety about that. Alternately, if an ex comes back into your life and you're like, nope, like I'm leaving that in the past, that's it. I feel like you're gonna have anxiety about that too, of, you know, did I make the right choice? Is this actually like what's best? Or did I make that decision too rashly? Was I being mean? Should I let them back in, etc.? And so I feel like at the end of the month, you're gonna be kind of questioning your decisions, which ties back into the world, because the world, like we've talked about, you have an idea of where you want to go, but not necessarily what needs to get done so that you can reach that goal, or you may not know exactly what your goal is. And I think sometimes when we don't have a sense of purpose and we don't have a clear finish line of this is what completion looks like, it's really easy to get anxious. Like, am I actually on the right path? Is this actually where I should be going? Or am I just kind of like blindly following this idea and I don't even know if it's right? And so I feel like this month is kind of colored a bit, let's say, by this like tone of anxiety. And towards the end of the month, I feel like because there's so much uncertainty in the middle of the month, you're just gonna feel very unsure. I'm sorry, I wish I could like end this on a slightly more positive note, but I feel like as this month goes on, you'll be thrown a couple of tests and it's gonna take you from this like very positive expression of yourself, very wholesome, very productive and constructive version of yourself, into kind of just like questioning everything. Like, am I actually on the right path? Am I actually going where I'm supposed to be going? And what if everything I'm doing is wrong? Which is when you go back to the Queen of Cups and tap back into your intuition. Listen to that, because, you know, the devil is kind of like that voice of doubt. Understand that the voice of doubt is important, but it's not necessarily the correct voice. So listen to it, but take it with a grain of salt. So that's all for your tarot reading. Let's pull a couple of oracle cards. These are from my Sufi Wisdom deck, and this will hopefully give us some advice to kind of help you get through this month. All right, so our two cards are Heart of the Matter and Imagination, which I think are so perfect for this because the Queen of Cups is very connected to her heart, and she's also very connected to her creativity and her imagination. And these two cards are really reinforcing that embodying the Queen of Cups, tapping into that side of yourself this month, will be the most productive for you. When your imagination or your creativity are stifled, when you are not in touch with your heart and your heart's desires, that's when we get into like the Devil and the Nine of Swords territory. So these two cards are really here to remind you to prioritize those, to focus on those, because these are what will lead you towards your final destination. I think that the Imagination card is really interesting in relation to the world and the devil, and also the Nine of Swords, because the world represents not necessarily being in the past, but you're not moving forward. The devil represents temptations, and usually these are tools that we've utilized in the past. And then the Nine of Swords is anxiety about the past. And I feel like when you kind of tap into these old coping mechanisms, you are not thinking creatively, you're not imagining new possibilities, you're just reverting back to what has worked before. And even if it hasn't completely worked, even if it has just been a mask for like your more painful emotions, it helps to soothe you temporarily. And so I feel like the Imagination card is here to advise you to try new things, try a new skill. Instead of your previous coping mechanisms, which were actually harmful, try something new. Draw from your own well of capabilities is what this says. You are not tied to who you have been in the past. You do not have to be who you've been previously, and you should not compare yourself to who you've been in the past. This card is reminding you, be who you want to be and allow yourself to move forward. I feel like these two cards especially are indicating like a fear of change. And so allow yourself to change if it aligns with your heart. My little segue there. I feel like this card is fairly self-explanatory, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but really the message on this card says it all. Align life's pathways through the heart. Do things that feel good to you on like an emotional level. Follow your heart and follow what brings you joy and happiness, what feels loving and respectful and honest and empathetic and all of those things. But really just allow yourself to like get in touch with your heart. Like you can even just like lay in bed and put your hand over your heart. Sometimes that simple action can trigger a lot of emotions, especially if you haven't been aligned with what your heart wants. But really just like, as cheesy as it sounds, just like listen to your heart and ask yourself, like, what does my heart want? And a lot of times it's things that are really good for you and really productive and will help you meet your goals. You just need to get in touch with it. That's basically the message of this card, is listen to your heart. Don't ignore those intuitive cues and allow yourself to nurture yourself. Like I said, I feel like this reading, I wish it was a little bit happier, but I feel like this reading indicates that there are going to be some harder times towards the end of November for you. And so if you can listen to your heart and practice the self-care that your heart wants, that will lead you towards like healing and happiness. To finish off this reading, I want to read the mantras from the little book that comes with this oracle deck. So for the heart of the matter, it says, I am recalibrating my frequencies to resolve the battle between my rational mind and my heart by letting my mind take care of physical matters and letting my heart bring me into alignment with the true pathway of my life. And then the mantra for the imagination card says, I am allowing my imagination to guide me in finding new directions and possibilities. I am accessing my own potential to live a more creative way of life. So do with those mantras what you will. You can ignore them. You can write them down. You can come back to this video and listen to them again. Whatever you would like to do. Just remember pile number 4, as you move through this month, do so in a way that feels aligned with your heart and be open to creative or new possibilities. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for listening to this reading, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, pile number 5. If you picked the cards with the carnelian on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 5. So I feel like this month you are taking a lot of time to rest, taking a lot of time to contemplate, and things may be wrapping up for you in some way. I say this because we start with the Two of Swords reversed, and the Two of Swords indicates a stalemate, a need to make a choice, a need to kind of weigh out the options, but not having all of the information that you need to make these choices. The Two of Swords, when reversed, indicates blindness to issues, like you need to make a choice, but you don't have the information available to you, or that you are unable to see both sides of the situation. Like you view it from one perspective and don't understand that there is a whole other perspective or a different side of the story. And so I feel like at the beginning of the month, this choice can be related to a lot of things. It can be related to anything from starting a new profession, to quitting your job, to any issues within a partnership, romantic or otherwise, or even just making a choice for your personal life. Like, should I sign up for this subscription service, or should I move? Whatever it is, I feel like there's a choice that you are going to be making this month, and it's not necessarily an easy choice, and you may not have all the details. So whatever choices or situations you experience at the beginning of the month, I would encourage you to make sure you have all the information before moving forward with it. But this card, when reversed, does indicate that there is like some sensitivity in the timing, like it needs to get done by a certain time. So I feel like at the beginning of this month, maybe this could even be voting, because this is an election month. Obviously it's November, but I feel like this could even be like needing to make a choice of like, who do I vote for? Shouldn't be a question, but if it is, make that decision quickly, because there's a sensitive timing associated with that. And whatever choice you make with this card, again, it literally could be anything that involves saying yes to one thing and saying no to something else. Whichever choice you make, there will be consequences. Consequences are not always good, consequences are not always bad, but whichever path you choose, there will be consequences. And I feel like the Six of Swords here is indicating that there's going to be a leaving or a departure or some sort of closure associated with that choice. For example, if someone asks you to be their romantic partner or asks you to marry them and you say yes, that's kind of leaving behind your life of being single. Or if you say, no, I'm not ready to take that next step in our relationship, there are certain endings associated with that. And the thing is, the Six of Swords often indicates like moving on and releasing and like, literally leaving. But I think sometimes it can also just mean distance. like taking space from things. And I feel like this month you may just need to take some space for yourself and leave behind obligations. And I'm not saying, I think I said this exact same sentence in a different reading, but I'm not saying like quit your job and move to the forest to be a hermit. Rather, I'm saying if there are things you can kind of take off your plate for a little bit, maybe taking a break from social media, taking a break from a career, maybe slowing things down, like if you're starting a new relationship and things seem to be moving really fast, taking some distance there. But these cards are really indicating that during the month of November, my dears, you need to take some time for yourself. You need to look within and figure out what you really want. Like, you're kind of being forced to make this choice and you really don't like either of the options. You're not happy with where you are in life and you're not happy with what's available to you based on where you are in life. And so I feel like once you realize, like, I don't like these options, I'm not happy with where I'm at, that's kind of your cue to take some time for yourself, take a break, release what you want to release. And like, this card can obviously indicate like a literal physical journey or travel or moving away. If you want to move across the country, maybe this is the time to do so. But more so, I feel like this is taking a mental break, taking some time away from distractions, taking some time where you're not forced to listen to what other people think. Take some time away from other people's opinions is what I'm saying. And allow yourself to like think for yourself, which like reminds me of the song Think for Yourself by George Harrison, featured on the Beatles album Rubber Soul. But think for yourself. Think about what you really want, what's best for you. Allow yourself to form your own opinions and worldviews that aren't like biased by what other people think or what other people want. Because ultimately, like, everyone has their own self-interests in mind. And I feel like you have been so influenced by what other people think that you haven't taken the time to form your own opinion. Sorry, I feel like that was a very long-winded way to say that at the beginning of this month, you're gonna be kind of unhappy with your choices, unhappy with what's in front of you, and you have to make a choice, but you don't like any of the options. And so because of that, either intentionally or unintentionally, you take a bit of a break. And then we move to the Four of Cups, and this one kind of has a similar sentiment to these first two, because as you can see, this person, wait, oh my god, I never realized that her sweatshirt said over it. That's so perfect. This card also often signifies like disillusionment, and I feel like you're just feeling pretty unhappy with the world right now. I don't blame you. I think a lot of us are there with you. But I feel like you've kind of closed yourself off emotionally because of like whatever this is. Like, you don't like the way things are going. You aren't happy with your life, essentially. And so instead of like trying to take new opportunities, like, this person has 3 cups in front of them and they're being offered a 4th. And they're still like over it. I feel like this month, the options in your life aren't gonna seem appealing to you. And, you know, if we think about like the presidential ballot, it's like, we obviously don't want 45 to get elected again. And at the same time, Biden isn't necessarily the best option either. And so we're feeling kind of disillusioned with the options, but ultimately, like, we do have to make a choice. We do have to move forward. And I feel like you're gonna be spending a lot of this month just kind of in this state of like feeling unhappy, feeling stuck with where you're at, just feeling really static. But the thing is that you're not really happy. Like, this isn't a peaceful rest. This is a really unhappy, kind of anxious, like, I need to do something, but I don't know what. Maybe if I go somewhere that will help. Maybe if I had new opportunities that would help. But really, none of these are gonna help because you're looking to external sources to solve an internal problem. And so I feel like this month is gonna be a lot of chasing external sources of happiness. But yeah, basically, like, I feel like this month is marked by a lot of unhappiness and knowing that you need to change, knowing that a choice needs to be made, and knowing that there are options, but you really just don't know which ones are going to bring you happiness. And so it's kind of a lot of like, what do I do? You know? Feeling very stuck, having like really high standards, like, I want to feel this good, and right now I feel this good, or like I feel really terrible right now, and not understanding that like there will need to be growth and it's not like an overnight fix. But yeah, sorry, I feel like my thoughts are a little bit all over the place with this reading. What I'm getting at is this month is kind of marked by a need to change, but not feeling like you have the tools or options to make that change. But then we get to the end of the month, and it's so interesting that we have a page here, because I think, yeah, 3 out of 5 of the piles today had a page in this last spot. So I feel like November, for a lot of you who are viewing this video, no matter which reading you picked, this month is kind of marked by some turmoil at the beginning or at the middle of the month, and then at the end you kind of get this clarity. But yeah, and I feel like this month especially, because we have the swords and the cups, and those are related to the mind and the emotions, I feel like you're going to be very caught up in your head this month of feeling certain ways and overthinking and kind of like dwelling in the mind and perhaps neglecting the physical world, neglecting obligations and finances and like all those things that like are out of your head or that are grounded in the very physical real world. Which brings me to the Page of Pentacles, which is so interesting because I feel like this month you're just kind of in this inner turmoil, like inside your head things are challenging and you're looking for external validation, but it's not really fixing anything. So you're just kind of like stuck in this like painful anxiety or like depressive mindset. And then at the end of the month, the Page of Pentacles to me really speaks to starting new habits, like getting back into the physical world and understanding what is required of you in that sphere of life. For example, if you haven't been taking care of your physical health, which could be a signification of these, of like escaping your problems, laying in bed all day, not feeding your body good foods, etc. I feel like at the end of the month, maybe you'll realize, wow, that's really not been good for me. And so then you'll decide to start eating healthier, start going on walks, doing yoga, light movement, etc. Kind of like getting back in touch with your body and your physical needs. Maybe with these, you know, like all these options in front of you and like this escapism of the Six of Swords, maybe you've been doing a lot of online shopping or otherwise like spending your money in a way that's not sustainable. And so at the end of the month, it's like, okay, I'm gonna make a budget sheet. I'm gonna get back on track. To me, this card is kind of like picking yourself up by the bootstraps after like a rough depressive episode. I'm not saying that everyone who is watching this video has depression. I'm not saying that everyone who watches this reading is going to have a depressive episode, but to me, this energy is really just like stuck in your head, stuck in your own little loop. And this card helps you get back into the physical world and helps you get back into reality. It could also be connection with other people and reminding yourself that there are other people and other experiences in the world besides this little bubble that you've been living in. But overall, pages are really positive cards. They do like very traditionally represent new opportunities and new experiences on the horizon and starting something fresh. So I feel like this reading was kind of all over the place. So my apologies, group number 5. But what I'm seeing in your cards, pile number 5, is that the majority of the month, you're gonna kind of be in your own head about issues that are going on maybe in your external circumstances, but it's very much like an internal like lack of joy, like feeling frustrated with the world around you, feeling frustrated with where you are in life and how you're living your life. And then at the end of the month, you're gonna kind of get this clarity, this breakthrough of like, if I actually want to improve, I need to take physical, tangible steps to get there. I also have some oracle cards to help give some advice for the month ahead. These are from my Sufi wisdom deck. Okay, I love when this happens. I literally could not have picked these cards better if I had like intentionally selected them from the deck. The simple pleasures, look for beauty that is all around you, is so perfect because I feel like you're ignoring things or trying to escape or simply rejecting what's in front of you because it doesn't meet your like unrealistic expectations of what you want. And the Simple Pleasures card is reminding you there's so much around you to be grateful for. Maybe one of the practical habits that you start at the end of the month with the Page of Pentacles is starting a gratitude journal. And I feel like everyone talks about this and like everyone suggests that you start a gratitude journal, but really it reminds you of the simple pleasures and the things around you that you often take for granted. And I feel like this month, pile number 5, you're so caught up in your mind and what's happening up there that you're not enjoying and appreciating the simple pleasures around you. This could be as simple as a delicious meal. This could be as simple as, you know, your cat cuddling you. Anything that brings you joy or is pleasurable in some way, enjoy it. It doesn't need to be the biggest thing in the world. You know, you don't need to like have the absolute best day of your life for it to be worthy of enjoyment. You can simply have a wonderful afternoon, a good hour, even like a really nice 5 minutes. And I feel like the reason I'm emphasizing this card is because the Four of Cups is often associated with unrealistic expectations. And this card is just here to say those little simple pleasures add up and will help get you out of this funk that you're in for the beginning of the month. And then we have the Turn Over a New Page card, which is like literally related to the Page of Pentacles here. starting fresh, allowing yourself to like have a new opportunity, a new outlook, and just start again. Sometimes I think it's not necessarily the most productive mindset to like want a fresh restart. Sometimes you need to start from where you're at. But I feel like with this month that you're gonna be having group number 5, turning over a new page, allowing yourself to wake up one day and simply say, enough is enough. Today is the fresh start. I am beginning anew today. I feel like that is what's gonna happen at the end of the month. Like this card says, let love lead the way for change. Allow yourself to do it out of a place of love and respect for yourself. This card is also reminding you to kind of reflect on where you've been up until this point, what has been working, what hasn't been working, and turn over a new page to realign your path. Yeah, I feel like these cards are pretty self-explanatory, so I don't have a ton to dwell on with them. Basically, as you go through this month, remember to find joy in the simple pleasures. There's so much beauty and love all around you if you just allow yourself to appreciate it and recognize it. And then allow yourself to turn over a new page, letting love lead the way. Letting respect and compassion for yourself lead you towards the best version of yourself. Like, don't turn your life around into like a self-punishing. And so instead of like punishing yourself, like I haven't worked out so I have to work out extra hard now, this might look more like I haven't worked out in a while, so I'm gonna be very gentle on myself when I go to the gym today and allow myself to do what feels good and nourishing for my body and mind without hurting myself by pushing myself too far. And then to finish off your reading, because I think that this one's getting a little bit long, I wanted to read the mantras associated with these 2 cards from the little book that comes with this oracle deck. You can do what you want with these. You can completely ignore them. You can write them down and hang them up in your bathroom so you see them every day. You can come back to this video and watch them again. But I think that these mantras are really helpful to kind of put these cards into like words that are easy to remember and easy for you to follow as you go about your month of November. So the mantra for simple pleasures is, every hour of my life brings me a variety of pleasurable experiences. I am realizing they may never come again. I will accept the little pleasure of gifts of the little things and live in grateful appreciation. And then the mantra for turn over a new page is, I am opening my heart to give and receive more love. Really quickly, I just want to say that I think the mantra for this one is so perfect because I feel like this month you haven't been giving or receiving love, whether that's to people in your life or to yourself, which is so important. And I hope that this mantra reminds you that you are worthy of love exactly as you are. You don't need to be the best version of yourself to receive love. Exactly as you are in this moment, you are worthy of receiving love. And so I hope that throughout November, you can kind of learn how to give yourself love through the Page of Pentacles, creating really good habits that foster self-love and growth. Ultimately, though, remembering that you are worthy of love at every single stage. You're worthy of having simple pleasures, and you deserve to lead a life that is filled with love. So that's all, pile number 5. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye!